There's actually going to be a thrall that can activate here in a second. That's always fun to watch. Kill the enemies and hit the switch in this room. Once you open up this switch, it will open up the last door on the opposite side. Go through here. You do not need to hit the switch over on the left-hand side. Just leave it open and then make sure you have your sniper or a bow up. It will help deal with the servitor that's going to spawn here shortly. Jump on back down, and then through this fence grate here, you can actually do damage with a sniper or a bow. You can also shoot the knight that is on the opposite side. Now that area is where we're going to go. That's going to have our final switch for this area. So we're going to head back to this room here. The enemies will respawn, so just watch out for them. The trap is still active, so just make sure you don't die at that section. Now at this point, hit the switch and then move to the open door. Now the switch is on the left and the right side here. You don't have to worry about, but you do have to hit this switch so you can go to the next section. You can use the doors that are now open here to jump across. And again, Lion Rampant is really going to help here on a Titan to make sure that you clear your jumps really easily. Knock out these enemies here and then head to the door that is by the orange lamp. Now this next section is going to be around a central missile complex area, and so you just need to be careful because there's a little bit of platforming and a few adds to deal with, especially some wizards. Now the wizards can hit you with their arc attacks, but they can also do the smoke attack that you just saw. So just make sure that you take out any of the enemies before you move to your next section. So this section is really simple. Hit the switch that you find at the different doors, go find the enemies when they spawn up, kill them, and then hit the next switch. It's easy, just make sure you don't fall during this section. If you want to know the order of the doors, it is 1, then 3, then back to 1, then door 2 will open, and there will be an enemy with a Scorch Cannon. Grab that Scorch Cannon and then head to door 4. That is where you're going to need to proceed next. Okay, when you're over at door 4, there's a fallen charge port over here. There's 2 ways to interact with it. You can either shoot it directly into the charge area. If you shoot it 3 times, you'll be able to go through it a little bit faster, or you can save ammo, charge it by holding down the firing button, and when it gets to the 3rd kind of explosive sound, release it and you'll be good to go. All right, when you go up the stairs, there is a barrel trap here. Once you progress past that first little gap, a barrel will come down. Go into one of the slots on the left or the right-hand side and stay alive there. Now, if you're someone who's looking for the Gjallarhorn Catalyst, this is where you find the second Reaver Vandal and the chest. I have a video link down below if you want to find out more about that, but for now, we're just going to skip ahead and get to the Ogre encounter. I'm going to show you 2 different builds that you can use here for the Ogre encounter, and you can use whichever one you feel more comfortable with. The first one is my standard, using Particle Deconstruction with the Helm of St. 14 and a Sleeper Simulant with Cartesian Coordinate. Now, an alternative build is using Passive Guard on your class item and using the Lament to do boss damage. The advantage to this is that you have Passive Guard, which will help keep you alive a little bit longer. Lament does okay boss damage. You'll definitely want to make sure that you have void damage resist. The other cool thing about this is when you're attacking the Ogre with the sword, a lot of times he won't hit you with this void attack blast, but he can knock you back. And if you do get knocked back, just use your sword and get swiping back. You'll actually get drawn back into the middle. Now, I'm also using a blinding grenade launcher in the special slot since there's no reason to use a fusion rifle if I'm not running particle deconstruction. So that's a really nice, easy build if you want to use Lament. Those are 2 really accessible, easy builds to use. Use whichever one you feel more comfortable with. I'll show you both here in this section. Okay, really quick review. You need to get burdens and deposit them in this salt crystal right here. To get the burdens, you have to open up the garage doors on the left and the right sides of the map that are going to have a bunch of enemies that are going to spawn up. How do you open up those doors? Well, there's a Scorch Cannon guy in the back of the map. Kill him and he'll drop the cannon, and you can open up the different sides using either the shots or the charged up shot from the Scorch Cannon. Hey, you who's about to comment. Yes, I know for a fact that you can grab this Scorch Cannon from underneath the bridge. This leads me to a concept that I want to talk about. Hold that comment for just a second, okay? Cool. Now, I know I'm making a dungeon guide for PvE, and I'm kind of known as a PvE guy, but we're going to talk about something that Destiny PvP players talk about all the time. And luckily, knowing this will help you, especially if you're struggling with this encounter. The concept we're talking about, movement. Did you notice that I actually grabbed the cannon from up on top, jumped down, and then jumped up again and put it back up on top? Did you notice how I didn't die? It's because I'm focusing on my movement. And 9 times out of 10, if you're dying in this section, that's probably the reason why. Your movement is probably not as good as it could be. You'll notice in my runs that I'm sliding around, changing directions quickly and often. And you'll notice that up here, see how I'm not dying at all? I'm up here jumping and just having fun with the Ogre. Now, see what happens when I jump slowly into the air. By doing this, I give the ogre an easy target to focus on, and then I start to get wrecked. Now, of course, grab the Scorch Cannon underneath if you are more comfortable with that. It is safer. I actually did it in my Hunter run. I just cut out that footage before I put it in the video, but I did not expect a flood of you to actually comment on it. It is a great strategy. It's one I would say, yes, you should definitely use if it's your first time solo flawlessing stuff. But also remember that your movement is just as important as little tricks like grabbing the Scorch Cannon from underneath the bridge. Here's another example of why movement is important. See how I'm getting to the Soul Crystal? I'm moving through the air, then I'm sliding, I'm making sure that I'm moving quickly and changing some inputs, and then of course I'm teasing the ogre when I can. But understanding movement is so critical, especially in this encounter with all these wide open spaces. You'll also notice that I'm using cover often. I'm either using a crystal or I'm using these boxes over here to make sure that I hide. See how I slide right there? And I'm moving like that. That is going to be critical if you want to survive through this encounter. You can't just hide behind boxes. You have to move from spot to spot to spot with confidence and make sure that you're sliding or jumping or moving in an unpredictable way. That's a concept I'm going to explore in a different video, so make sure you get subscribed for that. But for now, let's finish the ogre encounter. So for this, just keep using your cannon to open up the doors, kill the enemies, and feel free to use your super whenever you're comfortable so that you can get your abilities back. A reminder, whenever you collect 10 burdens or stacks of 10 burdens, all of your abilities will instantly recharge. A good comment made in the previous video though is that if you are in a roaming super, wait until your super runs out to collect 10. So you can see here, I waited until my super ran out and then I collected 2 more to get my burden by riches above 10. At that point, I'm able to get my super back instantly and we're good to go. To start boss damage, you need to deposit 25 burdens, and if you don't clear them, you'll die. So make sure that you're either getting a stack of 25 really quickly or you're moving to the crystal in between the left and the right side doors. Okay, once you've deposited 25, you do need to wait until the flavor text shows up on the left-hand side of the screen. Until then, you can't actually do damage, and there's this weird glitch where sometimes he won't go immediately into his damage phase. So just be careful about that. Okay, here's the first damage strategy with Lament. I'm basically going in and out of the bubble with my sword, recharging my overshield, and making sure that he's basically stuck there. Now, if you're using Lament, make sure that you charge up the sword first by using block for just a split second and then using these combos that you see here on screen. By doing this, you will do some really cool combo attacks with the sword, and you will be able to do tons of damage in this small window. I'm going to slow this down so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so make sure that you get Weapons of Light and then you're attacking him either in or out of the bubble. So here is a perfect combo coming up. I block for a second, do a light attack, light attack, light attack, and then a heavy attack. You see that spin that I did at the back end there? That is going to be the maximum amount of damage that I can get. Make sure that you're always checking your melee energy, which can be found over in the abilities bar. Now, if you don't have any ability energy for your sword, just use some normal attacks like I do right here to continue to do some damage while letting your sword charge up. At that point, then you can go ahead and do another combo and do whatever damage you can. Now, here's the thing about this strategy. With Lament, you won't ever 3-phase it, but it is a pretty safe strategy, and using passive guard is going to be really helpful, especially when dealing with the ads. If there's any point where you feel like you're in danger, pull out a sword and escape. You can always block if you've got sword energy as well and get extra damage resistance. Now, let's talk about folks who want to use Sleeper and Cartesian. You won't get the added defense from passive guard, but you will be able to do more damage to the boss. You'll need to be a little bit more safe, but I'd really recommend that you use the Scorch Cannon to get as many of the enemies down as possible, especially the knights in the back of the left and the right side room. An easy, safe strat to help you in staying alive is meleeing some of the enemies once you get your defensive strike back and then head to the crystal. Now, if you're using Sleeper and Fusion Rifles, I'd recommend that once you get the flavor text to proc, come up to this area here and put the bubble directly in this spot. It'll blind any of the enemies that are coming from the side, especially the Thrall, and you'll have a clear shot on the Ogre. The advantage of this is that you can hit his critical spot, but he can't run up and actually start to melee you. He can run up right in front of you and try to kill you, but whenever you feel like you're in danger, just hop into the bubble for a second, get an overshield back, and you're good to go. If you run out of Sleeper Simulant, just use your other fusion rifle, and if there are other enemies, use your normal fusion rifle to knock him out. With those strategies, you can easily clear the Ogre really quickly and easily on a Titan. Okay, so here's the TLDR. Always be checking your burdens, always making sure that you don't run out of time. Don't get too many burdens because that will waste time for DPS that you'll have to be staying on the crystal. Know your damage strat. If you're using a sword, make sure you put the bubble in the middle. If you're using fusions, fall back and put that bubble up so enemies can't kill you. Try to keep the Scorch Cannon with you so it doesn't disappear and the Scorch enemy comes back and tries to kill you. Try to create unpredictable movement and use your super often. Okay, so now it's time for the Sparrow Run. Got a couple things to talk about in here, but first of all, you may have noticed that I've put on a Risk Runner. That's going to give me increased arc damage resistance, and I've also moved my chest piece over to increased arc damage resistance. While that won't help out your Sparrow with the damage resistance, it will help you in case of your Sparrow explodes, and it might keep you alive just a little bit longer. We have a bunch of little misconceptions to take care of, the first being that you have to have the always-on-time Sparrow to get this part done. This is from the Scourge of the Past raid. It is available in the kiosk, but it is technically a raid piece of gear, and I did use it in my last video. However, you don't need to use it. In fact, I've completed this on a blue Sparrow. I'm not trying to flex. Well, maybe just a little. But it's so important to realize that just because you don't have a piece of loot in the game doesn't mean that you can't do stuff inside of the game. Now, would I recommend using a blue Sparrow for your solo flawless run? Absolutely not. But don't put natural barriers in your way. Maybe you can complete it with the Sparrow that you have in your inventory. In fact, right now, there is a Sparrow that you can buy from the Eververse store called the Mirthmobile. It's the holiday version of the Micro Mini Sparrow. I've also done this on a legendary Sparrow. The big thing is just to find a Sparrow that you feel comfortable driving and that seems to handle pretty well. Now, I've done some research and there has been some videos saying that Mirthmobile is better because it has a smaller hitbox. That is 100% false.